This is DD India and you're watching Express News, a program where we bring you top 100 news of the day. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's begin. In a special briefing, India's External Affairs Ministry said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on an official visit to the United Kingdom on 23rd of July for discussions with his British counterpart, Keir Starmer. Addressing the briefing, Secretary Vikram Misri said that the PM will also call upon King Charles III and will hold interactions with the business leaders from both the countries. The Secretary further informed that the Prime Minister will also visit Maldives from July 25th to 26th on the invitation of the President of the Republic of Maldives, Dr. Mohamed Moizu. The Prime Minister will be the guest of honour at the celebrations of the 60th anniversary of the independence of Maldives on July 26th. Both houses of Parliament have been adjourned till Wednesday amid protests by opposition members demanding a discussion on Operation Sindoor, the special intensive revision of electoral rolls in poll-bound Bihar and other issues. ISRO's GSLV F-16 will launch NISAR, the NASA-ISRO synthetic aperture radar, on 30th of July from Sriharikota. A milestone marks an over a decade of collaboration between ISRO and NASA. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has officially tendered his resignation, citing that he wishes to prioritize healthcare and abide by medical advice. Presiding Officer Ghanshyam Tiwari informed the House that the Ministry of Home Affairs has conveyed the resignation of Vice President under Article 67A of the Constitution with immediate effect. In a post on X, Prime Minister said that Jagdeep Dhankar has got many opportunities to serve the country in various capacities, including as the Vice President of India. The first batch of Apache attack helicopters for the Indian Army arrived in India on Tuesday from the United States. Calling it a milestone moment, Army officials said that it will soon be deployed at Jodhpur by the Indian Army, boosting the operational capabilities of the Indian Army significantly. The week-long celebrations under Bharat Skill Next 2025 concluded today. The event brought together visionaries and change-makers to chart the next frontier of skilling. Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Jayant Chaudhary shared his vision through a keynote address at the event celebrating 10 transformative years of the Skill India mission. The British Navy's F-35 fighter jet finally took off from Thiruvananthapuram International Airport on Tuesday after remaining grounded at the airport for over a month following a fault in the hydraulic system. The 13th high-level meeting between the Indian Coast Guard and the Korean counterpart was held in New Delhi on Monday. Both sides engaged in discussions to boost cooperation in maritime search and rescue operations. They also reaffirmed their commitment to share best practices and enhance interoperability under the 2006 MOU. As part of the visit, the Korean Coast Guard delegation will travel to Mumbai from July 23rd to 24th for an industrial visit to the Madgaon Dock Shipbuilders Limited and to an ICJ patrol vessel. Ahead of the annual Baba Buddha Amarnath Yatra, top officials from the Jammu and Kashmir Police, CRPF, BSF and Indian Army carried out a high-level review of the security and logistical arrangements to ensure a smooth and peaceful pilgrimage. The revered shrine located in the Mandi subdivision of the Poonch district is set to welcome thousands of devotees from across India from July 28th to August 9th. Maharashtra government has moved the Supreme Court against Bombay High Court's decision to acquit all 12 accused in the 7/11 train blast case of 2006. The court has agreed to list the case for hearing on 24th of July. Labour and Employment Minister inaugurated the 3rd Global Industrial Relations Summit, a timely dialogue on shaping the future of work in New Delhi. Addressing the gathering, Union Minister emphasized that manpower and workforce will remain relevant despite the inception of new technologies and artificial intelligence. Indian equity indices ended on a negative note in a volatile session on Tuesday. At close, Sensex had slipped 14 points to settle at 82,187. Nifty at the National Stock Exchange fell 30 points to close at 25,061. Gold futures maturing on August 5th were priced at 99,192 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for July 4th maturity stood at 114,781 rupees per kilo on the MCX. Indian rupee fell 5 paise to close at 86 rupees 36 paise against the US dollar on Tuesday. Global crude oil prices declined on Tuesday amid concerns of a brewing trade war between major crude consumers, the US and the European Union, that will curb fuel demand growth by lowering economic activity. Brent crude futures were down 28 cents to $68.93 a barrel. US crude stood at $66.83 a barrel, down 0.6%. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq notched record highs on Monday, lifted by Alphabet and other mega caps ahead of its several earnings reports this week. Geeta Gopinath, the second in command at the International Monetary Fund, will step down at the end of August to return to her position at the Harvard University, IMF said in a statement. Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margarita called on King Letsie III of Lesotho in Maseru. He conveyed greetings of President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The leaders discussed ways to further enhance the bilateral partnership and cooperation in matters of mutual interest. The death toll in the Dhaka aircraft crash has risen to 31 on Tuesday, while 165 others are receiving treatment at different hospitals. Russia and Ukraine will hold new peace talks on Wednesday as a follow-up to 2 rounds in Istanbul that made little progress on ending the conflict, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has announced. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky appointed over a dozen new ambassadors, replacing top cabinet officials and envoys to shore up relations with Washington and isolate Russia internationally. A trilateral meeting between Iran, Russia and China will take place today to discuss Tehran's nuclear program and the United Nations snapback mechanism. North Korean officials and shipyard workers pledged to complete construction of a new Navy destroyer warship by October 10th next year, state news agency said. Sirens rang out in Tel Aviv early Tuesday as Israel's military said it intercepted a missile launched from Yemen. Donald Trump demanded in a Truth Social post that the NFL's Washington Commanders and MLB's Cleveland Guardians revert to their old names, both of which were abandoned in recent years due to being racially insensitive to Native Americans. EU Defence Commissioner Andrei Kubilius said Europe must boost its defence as the US shifts focus to China. He urged Europe to prepare for a more strategic responsibility. Venezuela announced it is launching a formal investigation into Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele and other officials of alleged abuse of Venezuelan migrants deported from the United States. Argentina's aviation sector erupted on Monday as 5 unions protested at Buenos Aires' Jorge Newbery Airport, opposing regulatory changes, wage delays, layoffs and privatization policies. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro showed his ankle monitor after Brazil's Supreme Court imposed restrictions in a coup probe. He is barred from contacting foreign officials. The US Justice Department released over 240,000 pages tied to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, including FBI files that monitored and attempted to discredit him during the Cold War. The UK government has approved the £38 billion Sizewell C nuclear power plant, securing funding from EDF, Centrica, Amber Infrastructure and Canada's La Caisse pension fund to boost national energy security. A cholera outbreak is surging in Kinshasa's Pakajuma in DR Congo amid poor sanitation and no running water. Treatment centers are overwhelmed as outbreaks have hit 21 African countries, says Africa CDC. Leftist leaders from Spain, Brazil, Colombia, Uruguay and Chile met in Santiago to call for unity against US protectionism and extremism. The summit focused on Donald Trump's tariff policies. Germany and Norway agreed to tighten North Atlantic surveillance amid tensions with Russia. Chancellor Friedrich Merz and Prime Minister Jonas Gahr stressed protecting key naval routes. Microsoft said that a cyber espionage attack hit 100 organizations using SharePoint servers. Victims, mostly in the US and Germany, include government bodies. Google tied some of the hacks to a China Nexus threat actor. We're heading for a short break. We'll be back with Express News in just a bit. Stay tuned to DD India.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's resume. Heavy rain on Uttarakhand has triggered landslides and blocked 93 roads across the region. The India Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert for several districts. Rain lashed parts of Delhi on Tuesday, with the IMD forecasting light to moderate showers continuing through Wednesday. Temperatures are expected to range between 23 and 36 degrees Celsius, accompanied by cloudy skies. Torrential rain in the Philippines have caused floods with knee to waist deep water, prompting evacuations around Manila's rivers and waterways. Thousands of families are in shelters as tropical storm Wifa intensifies. In Thailand, heavy rain, strong winds and dangerous seas are expected due to strong southwest monsoon and approaching typhoon Wifa. The storm may cause isolated heavy to very heavy rainfall. Typhoon Wifa struck southern China, Hong Kong and Taiwan before heading toward Vietnam's northern coast. bringing heavy rains, flash flood and landslide warnings. In central Israel, volunteers are replanting grapevines damaged by wildfires earlier this year. The Latrun monastery lost about one-third of its 5 hectares of vines. Firefighters battled a rare fire tornado in Turkey's Baalbek amid hundreds of wildfires sweeping the country this summer. 2 people died in recent blazes in Izmir province. In Vienna, the new and old Danube serve both as flood protection and popular summer swimming spots. Authorities monitor water quality bi-weekly to balance recreation with habitat preservation. Belgium has placed 200,000 flat oyster larvae in a sunken shipwreck off its coast to restore their rare species and boost marine biodiversity. Flash flood warnings were issued across parts of the U.S. Midwest as heavy rains caused a creek to overflow in Kansas City, with officials describing the flood as the worst since 1993. In Mogadishu, Somalia, artist Masla Abdi Dahir trains young people in painting and visual expression, challenging cultural taboos around art, depicting peace and identity in a city scarred by conflict. Dahir's studio has become a safe space for creativity in Somalia, where formal art education is rare and visual storytelling is often stigmatized. Saudi Arabia is pushing to become a global hub for esports, backed by major tournaments like the Esports World Cup, government investment and a national gaming strategy. As part of its Vision 2030 plan, Saudi Arabia aims to launch 250 local gaming companies, create 39,000 jobs and raise the sector's GDP contribution to 50 billion riyals. Vietnam has ranked 6th out of 40 countries in the World AI Index released by WIN, standing out for its openness and optimism towards artificial intelligence. While Vietnam shows strong enthusiasm and awareness of AI's usefulness, actual adoption remains moderate, with the country placed 17th in AI usage. At Chicago's North Avenue Beach, Scream Club Chicago meets weekly to help people release stress through collective screaming. The club grew from a spontaneous moment. Attendees described the shared experience as healing and judgment-free. Nigerian students showcased innovative robotics projects addressing local challenges at the Battle of the Bots competition in Lagos. While AI adoption grows rapidly in Nigeria, parental concerns over misinformation and children's reliance on AI prompted the Kids Tech Fest. The Bobby Deol star Bandar will be screened at the prestigious 2025 Toronto Film Festival. The film will premiere at the festival, which will run from September 4th to 14th. Hollywood stars Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby walked the red carpet in Los Angeles on Monday for Marvel Studios' reboot of the Fantastic Four franchise, titled The Fantastic Four: First Steps. Set in a retro-futuristic 1960s world, the new Fantastic Four film introduces Marvel's first family as they battle Galactus and Silver Surfer. Ahead of its release, the second trailer of Son of Sardar 2, starring Ajay Devgan, was unveiled on Tuesday. The trailer follows Devgan's character through chaotic twists. Iranian filmmaker Jafar Panahi has been named the 2025 Asian Filmmaker of the Year by the Busan International Film Festival. He will receive the award in September. The Oscars submission site is now open, allowing film companies to upload streaming assets to the Academy screening room for members-only viewing. Film companies must submit an Oscars submission form and screen credits by September 10th for films released between January and June, and by November 13th for those released July to December. The Venice Film Festival will reveal its 2025 lineup, with director Alberto Barbera announcing the official slate, including Golden Lion contenders via live stream. Country music legend Dolly Parton is the subject of a new official musical, Dolly, a true original musical, which premiered in Nashville ahead of her Las Vegas residency. The musical features portrayals of key figures in Parton's life, including her husband, Carl Dean. It is set to head to the Broadway in 2026, following its Nashville run. Bollywood stars Kajol and Twinkle Khanna will co-host a new talk show titled Too Much with Kajol and Twinkle, produced by Bunny J Asia. The show promises high-profile guests from the Bollywood A-list. British singer Charlie XCX and George Daniel, drummer of the 1975, got married in London. Charlie wore a Vivienne Westwood dress, while Daniel donned a suit for the ceremony at Hackney Town Hall. Malcolm Jamal Warner, known for playing Theo on The Cosby Show, has died at 54 after reportedly drowning during a family trip in Costa Rica. Gary Smith, 8-time Emmy-winning producer known for 6 Tony Awards, broadcasts and specials featuring Elvis Presley, Barbara Streisand and more, died at the age of 90 in Los Angeles. Oscar-nominated actor William Dafoe turns 70 on Tuesday. With a 40-year-old career and over 100 films, Dafoe is known for a wide range of roles. He received a Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2023. On to sports news now. England and India are set to lock horns in the crucial 4th test at Old Trafford on Wednesday. England lead the 5-match series 2-1. England made just one change in their playing 11 for the 4th test, with all-rounder Liam Dawson replacing injured Shoaib Bashir. Indian pacer Mohammad Siraj confirmed that spearhead bowler Jasprit Bumrah will play the 4th test. Pacer Anshul Kamboj could make his test debut for India after injury to key players. Indian women's cricket team is set to clash with England in the series deciding 3rd one-day international at Chester Street on Tuesday. Indian Grandmaster Koneru Humphrey will face Lea Ting Jie of China in the semi-finals of the FIDE Women's World Cup in Georgia on Tuesday. India's Divya Deshmukh defeated compatriot Harika Drunavalli in tie-break to enter the semi-finals of the FIDE Women's World Cup. Indian shuttler HS Prannoy saved 5 match points to beat Japan's Koki Watanabe in the opening round of the China Open Badminton Tournament in Chengdu on Tuesday. Lakshya Sen, however, squandered a 1-game advantage to suffer a 21-14, 22-24, 11-21 loss against Li Shifeng of China in the opening round. World number 2 Carlos Alcaraz has withdrawn from next week's Canadian Open in Toronto to recover from Wimbledon final loss against Yannick Sinner. Olympic champion Cheng Kin-wen has decided to pull out of the US Open as she continues to recover from right elbow injury. England will take on Italy in the semi-final of 2025 Women's Euro in Geneva, city of Switzerland on Tuesday. Manchester United has signed forward Brian Mbeumo from Brentford until 2030 with the option to extend the contract for a year further. Defending champion Tadej Pogacar expects a tough final week as he prepares for the Tour de France. And Buenos Aires is set to host the MotoGP races after nearly 30 years as the Grand Prix of Argentina makes a return in 2027. So that's it in this edition of Express News. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.